Bom, vamos começar a próxima sessão aqui. Fazer uma introdução do próximo palestrante. Tem mais de 10 anos em experiência em e-commerce, desenvolvimento de web e open source baseado em PHP. Ele é palestrante internacional, roda os 4 pontos do mundo aí, falando sobre o Magento, nas suas operações, como que é o Magento. Membro fundador do site Magento Stack Exchange. Deu curso para a gente de Magento, quando a gente começou a mexer com Magento, que a gente foi lá em Los Angeles, a gente teve um curso com o Ben, Rodrigo e Ivan, meus sócios, fizeram um curso lá. E ele vai falar sobre os recursos da plataforma, sobre global, como a gente vem crescendo. Apresento para vocês, trago vocês, Ben Marques. Por favor, salva de palmas.
Well, I have pants this time. The guys yesterday reminded me the last time I flew in, Carlos was doing the event. I was coming straight in from Romania, and the airline, I had to fly on a very tiny plane and check my luggage, which the airline promptly lost. So I actually got to give my first keynote in shorts and flip-flops, which actually honestly made me feel like I was just doing the conference in Rio. I think most of what Eric said was true about me. My Portuguese has not really improved. But it did remind me that, yes, I got to meet the WebJump team several years ago, 2012, teaching them in a class, and it's one of the real pleasures of my life as I travel around to see these businesses that sort of come into being and then grow with this platform, and that's a bit of the theme of what I have to talk about. Now, my colleagues did a really good job talking about several of the things that you'll see in my slides. So I won't go into any further detail, A, because they've already covered it, and B, they covered it in Portuguese, which is something I probably won't do anytime soon. All right, so I am Ben Marks. I spend a lot of time on the road talking to audiences and learning from audiences like you all over the globe. That's my contact information. I mean it when I say if you have any questions or concerns or anything, if you need a recipe for cheesy bread, anything like that, feel free to send me an email. One of the things that I get to do regularly is actually take requests or take feedback and give it to my colleagues inside the company. So I'm a contactable, friendly face. So please, by all means, reach out to me. We are celebrating 10 years since Magento 1 beta was released. It's a really big birthday. I don't know if many of you remember your 10th birthday. It was pretty cool. Double digits, starting to feel like an adult. In the e-commerce world, that's basically retirement age, right? Because 10 years is a really, really long time for any software. And for e-commerce, it's even longer because we know what's happened to our expectations as consumers, how we shop. And so over the years, how we program, how developers work changes quite a lot. And consumer behaviors really, really change. I mean, if you think about it, 10 years ago, this little thing called the iPhone was introduced, and that actually really started to change our experience, our level of exposure to the web, and the expectations that we have of it. So 10 years, good anniversary. Our timeline to get here, blowing in the wind. Magento released 2007, and then we had a whole history of things that built up to finally being acquired by private equity. I think this was discussed a little bit earlier. And then You see, since then, we have been on an absolute tear. We have been adding to our product portfolio. We have been changing the ways we do business. We have been innovating with how we engage with the community. And that's what I want to talk about just briefly today. So you can see from the slide that our trajectory is upwards. It always has been, and the plan is that it always will. The reason our trajectory is upwards is due in large part to what we see here. I don't know how many of you know, but this is not a Magento event. We don't produce these events. Meet Magento is this thing that sprung up out of Germany and has spread around the world. I've got, I think, 41 countries ticked off in my passport, mostly on the strength of the Meet Magento brand. This is our community organizing and producing events for our mutual benefit. Now, this picture is from one of the events that we put on, Imagine, in Vegas. Vegas is not my favorite city. I think if you've never been, you should visit maybe once. If you want, you can even do foolish things like we do, which is go running in the desert the day after the opening party. You've never really experienced dehydration until you're hungover running through a desert, just hoping that you don't, die and embarrass yourself in front of other people. Right, so let's take a look at some impressive numbers. Us big business types, that's me. I'm a big business type because I have a blazer. We like to throw up numbers. We like to talk about numbers. We've recently, we're currently going through a strategic planning process, and what this means is we have to dig through all of the numbers and find out what's important, what's meaningful, because we then take those numbers and we take them to our board, the people who, basically mom and dad who give us our allowance, and say, hey, I'm doing something interesting, give me funding. So I think what we have here, though, are some of the most impressive numbers in the industry. We have a huge engaged group of people online, on the forums. Sherry, our community manager, she and I are the outreach team for Magento, has that forum absolutely cracking with activity. So there are a lot of questions asked and answered there. There's a lot of people coming together, people like yourselves, to help one another, to grow their business, to figure out solutions to problems, and to talk about interesting ideas. We have a massive event ecosystem, and the older I get, I'll be 40 in just a couple of months, the harder it is for me to make it to all of the events. In fact, it's impossible. I can no longer make it to 2 events at the same time. But you can go pretty much any country in the world and find someone who is in the business of Magento. This kind of interactivity, this kind of engagement is part of the story behind the accolades that we get. And the nice thing about a slide like this, where we get to say, hey, we've been identified by analysts all over the world for our expertise and our solutions in, whether it's B2B or B2C and different verticals. The great thing here is that these aren't just our awards. They don't belong just to Magento. They belong also to our community. Because we make fantastic software, we make fantastic solutions, but we only carry it so far. You all are the ones that have to make it work for the market, make it work for the merchants. If you're a merchant here today, you know that you have to deal with a partner, or you have to have at least some internal stakeholders to take the power of Magento and make it really, really sing for your business. So I'm always proud of our awards, especially the fact that we get we get awards for B2B when we didn't even have until recently an official B2B platform. It speaks to the flexibility of the software, and it speaks also to the ingenuity of the community, the ability to take what we make and make it work for the merchants. This is my favorite slide in this whole presentation, because this captures where we are now, and it also captures where we're going. I'll tell you why I like this slide. There are some really big numbers up there. 124 billion, this was on one of the slides earlier. That's a lot of money. When you think that this whole thing started because someone dropped out of UCLA and started a web agency and then just wasn't satisfied with the open source shopping cart solutions that were out there and said, you know, we're going to build our own. That was the idea that started this whole thing. And now Magento is one of the biggest influences in the world of online shopping. We touch 60 million people a year with the platform. You know, it's a funny story, actually, the 124 billion. We actually, a couple years ago, I bet if I went back to my slide, you would have seen me say, yeah, we've got about $50 billion flowing through Magento code base all over the world. That was our estimate. And that's one of the fun challenges of open source is it can be hard to know what's happening with our platform, like how people are using it, where they're using it. So we actually hired an analyst to dig in and find out just how much money, how much merchandise volume was enabled by Magento. And they came back and they said, well, we've got good news and we've got great news. You know, 50 billion is wrong. It's 124 billion. Finding out that we touch 60 million shoppers, it's great. For me, what is the most awesome, and I mean that truly, it is awe-inspiring, it is exciting, it is terrifying. 5.1 billion. That's the Magento economy. That's the business of being in the Magento business. That's a kitchen repair. That's a new house. It's money for school. It's families' livelihoods. It's a path of growth from maybe one level of income to another. I've watched so many businesses grow, so many lives be changed just by taking a chance on Magento and building a business around it. So that 5.1 billion, that is the service economy of Magento. And I'll tell you why that is such an important number to me. It's because it reminds us that everything that we do at Magento has an impact. If we have a misstep, we are potentially hurting a lot of people. So believe me when I say that how we do business is very much influenced by that awareness that we are interdependent with you, that we are interdependent with our customers, that we are all working together to get from the left side over to the right side. So the same analysts that we hired to dig into our current numbers, they gave us some projections. And these are not companies that are paid to paint rosy pictures. They're paid to be accurate. And their projections are that we are almost going to double the merchandise volume going through the Magento platform. We are going to grow the number of shoppers that we touch. And that Magento economy is going to almost triple. That's a big, big responsibility. We don't get from the left side to the right side by accident. We have to have some strategy. We have to have some planning. And that's what I will mention briefly. So we have several pillars on our path to, our path to bigger and better things in 2020. For product innovation, you saw a bit on the Magento Commerce Cloud, right? So this is one of the most important things to come along in the Magento ecosystem, right? Magento is a cloud company. Our software is built to run in the cloud. You can run it in your cloud. You can run it on premises. It's always going to be an option. But we thought it would be good to give you the proverbial one throat to choke. Because a lot of times, if you've been in the e-commerce business, you know that maybe if something is happening with the site, you don't know who to talk to. Is it the software itself? Is it the hosting provider? Is it something that the solution partner did? So with us, we packaged everything up into one service, one invoice, one point of contact, right? So we have your diagnostic tools, we have analytics platform, we have deployment mechanism, we have all of this stuff put together. And the idea is that we're pretty good at understanding how our software works, and you can trust us for that. Oh, and we're going to make it pretty darn affordable. I have some colleagues here who I'm sure would be glad to talk about pricing, because I'm in strategy. I don't have to talk about pricing. Business to business. This was certainly a team effort. I got to contribute to this a little bit. So as I mentioned before, business to business, we know that growth, there's a huge growth market with business to business. We know that people for years have been taking Magento and adapting it from a B2C solution to a B2B solution. Now, as a developer, I can tell you, and there are developers in the room who I'm sure have done some of this, and it can be a bit of a challenge because underneath, the platform makes some assumptions as a business-to-consumer product. And so you have to get a little creative to make it work. But that being said, Magento became a B2B leader even before we had a B2B set of tools. Now, with the latest release of Magento, we have that. It's just part of the package. There's no extra license fee or anything. And what we did to build this product is we went to all of the experts in the Magento ecosystem, all of the businesses that were well known for building B2B solutions with Magento, and we asked them, what are the common set of requirements? What are the pain points? What do you need to extend most often to adapt to the customer's needs? And what we did was we built a baseline set of features to bootstrap B2B projects. So things like quick order, things like customer hierarchies. You saw the video earlier, being able to follow quote histories to see what kind of negotiated deals you've had. A ton of the baseline features that you would expect from a B2B solution, they're all in there. And the great thing is, all of this is backed with a RESTful API. If you don't know what I mean, you're probably not a developer, so you can ignore it. And open to extension. Again, this is where Magento will win every single time, is our flexibility. And whereas e-commerce is always custom, B2B is even more so, with all of the integrations and requirements and processes that have to be accounted for. So what we did with our B2B solution was we built this to get you going, and we built it to be extended. And then we come to Marketplace. So in the years that I've been coming down to Brazil, eating, was it pão de queijo? Yeah, pão de queijo. Oh, God, I love those things. And churrascaria, yeah. I love coming to Brazil. I usually leave. I usually take some of Brazil with me, actually. But all the years I've been coming down here, this is the first year that we get to actually tell the story of Marketplace. So an interesting thing has happened with consumer expectations around extending software. And we really have, I think, Apple to blame, right? Because you're just sitting there, you say, I'm about to get on a plane, I'm going to be bored, let me get a chess game. And you go to an app store, you download the game, and you have it. With Magento Connect, we had kind of an app store, not really an app store. We had a place where you could find extensions. Now, ironically, if you had to buy the extension, you couldn't buy it from us. You had to go somewhere else. And then you had to take strangers' code and just trust that they knew what they were doing and drop it in your website. With Marketplace, we actually built an entire business team around this App Store concept. So we take a revenue share when people purchase extensions. And that kind of puts us, hand in hand in business together for the customer. And what we built around this was a whole suite of testing tools so that we can kind of certify that extensions work, that they're not stealing code from other extensions, and then that there is a healthy upgrade path. I think that the days of Magento 1 and extensions, a lot of developers, a lot of very good developers, spend a lot of time, a lot of their day, not creating new features for their clients, but just making damn extensions work. And so we wanted to take away some of these pain points. So when you create an extension now and you upload it to the marketplace, we spin up a whole cadre of virtual environments and run that extension through tests. And then we actually take the description and a person reviews it and makes sure that it works. Make sure that it does what it says it does. This is a big change from how things used to be. The experience is therefore much more satisfactory. We have, I think, almost 2,000 extensions now, something like this. No, it's over 1,000. We get 300 submissions a week. So that's, if you're one of these people submitting an extension and you're noticing it takes a little while for it to get approved, that's why. We've been hiring more and more people to run through the manual testing part of it. But again, this speaks to how customers are able to extend the application. Let's see. Oh, and we recently, if you haven't been to Marketplace, if you went there months ago and you haven't been recently, check it out. We integrated Algolia search. It's much easier to find the functionality that you need. And we are constantly investing in this application, right? So this business of ours is not even done. And I think over time you're going to see Marketplace continue to grow and improve. My colleagues, I think, went through order management pretty well. Order management, just briefly, that is Magento Order Management. It's a fantastic team out of Barcelona. This product is a great one for us because it allows to tell the great stories in commerce today, like how you as a buyer can go into a store because you see the perfect pair of pants, but it's not available. But that sales associate in the store is empowered to find out that, hey, we've got some in the warehouse, or we've got some over at this other store. Would you like those? Would you like to purchase those here and have them shipped home? Would you like to purchase those here and have them shipped here and you can pick them up? All sorts of these omni-channel experiences, which more and more are becoming standard experiences. That's powered by order management. Another great thing about order management is it'll work with any platform. And then, as part of our product strategy, we've taken a really, the classic product move. Instead of building something, just buying something. So we found this great business that had this analytics platform for Magento called RJ Metrics, a team based out of Philadelphia. And we found a great fit with them, and so we purchased the business, and now RJ Metrics has become Magento Business Intelligence. You get pretty charts, right? That's why we all get into the analytics business, is so we have pretty charts. One of the questions that I get about this when I'm out in the world is they say, well, you know, why would I need an analytics platform? Like, I've got Google Analytics. It tells me everything I know. Well, it actually doesn't. Google Analytics can tell you that people are converting. It can tell you you're spending this much money on an ad campaign, and you get some of these results. But it doesn't help you dig into the data and see, was it worth it? Were these high-value customers? Are they actually really your best return on investment? And so MBI has we have a few tiers on offer, and you can take this platform. You can take this platform and really get to understand the value that you are extracting from your customers, get to understand your customers and see where you should be investing your money. So it is that step beyond what Google Analytics gives you. And the great thing about this is, especially as you go up into the higher tiers of service, this is not a black box system, right? That data that's in there, the things that we materialize, the order that we provide to the chaos of numbers, you can get that back out, right? You're not locked into that. You can pipe that information into other systems to do further work with, right? That's the open spirit of Magento. See, pretty dashboards. I was at the hackathon yesterday, right? We had this contribution day. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And someone asked me, they said, so, is Magento 2 more secure than Magento 1? Being the evangelist, my response was, yes, of course. We have, if you don't know, we have a bug bounty program. It's on Bug Crowd. So we actually encourage people to try and break our software. And then if they can find some kind of vulnerability, they get to disclose that safely and responsibly, and then we pay money. This is a classic software security approach. This is one of the benefits of open source, is all of that code is out there, so people can look at it and they can test it. We have basically the world's biggest pen testing group with all of the Magento developers out there. And one of the things that we've done as part of our commitment to security, so in addition to building in automated testing that looks at how developers write their code and make sure that they're following security best practices, we have, actually I need to take off coming soon because it's now here, a security scanning tool. So this is like Mageport, if you're familiar with that. We actually worked with the Mageport team, and what this does is actually a way to register your ownership of a Magento domain, and the ability to test, essentially take our servers, and we'll kind of probe and poke around your site and make sure that all the necessary patches are applied and that the servers are well configured, and then we'll give you a report with action items. If there are any. Or we'll give you a nice green report and you know that everything is fine and dandy. So you can go into your Magento account right now and register a domain. We'll give you a little key that you then put into your Magento instance, and then we'll run the test. All right, so that's part of the product strategy for how we grow from where we are today to where we're going to be in 2020. Recently, this year, we announced that we are in a collaboration with Google. I actually got to go out to the Google offices. They made me wear a name tag. I was disappointed they just didn't already know who I was and everything about me, because it's Google, right? And we are working with Google to build the future of the front end for Magento and really for commerce. Google themselves were delighted to discover, again, how did they not know, this huge Magento ecosystem and all of these developers out there. So we have a really, really smart guy. It was questionable taste in headgear, but other than that, his name is James Zetlin. He used to run the front end for this little company called PayPal, and we got him. And he's a rather intelligent fellow. He's got some really great talks out there. You can go onto the Magento Imagine website and see his presentation from Imagine this year. He's a fantastic speaker, very, very clear thinker. And what we've learned, what we've realized is that progressive web apps are the future for commerce, right? It is a seamless experience. It is that a lot of the app-like benefits, but in the browser. There's no downloading an app, going into an app store and downloading a shop's app. The experience just works. I was showing a demo yesterday for Myntra.com. That's Myntra.com. This is a clothing company in India. And they're one of the early, kind of the early adopters of advanced mobile pages and progressive web app approach. It's like right now, this is why it sucks to be in the analytics business sometimes, because right now, someone in India is trying to figure out why there's a whole bunch of web traffic from Sao Paulo looking at Indian clothing. But that experience, it will tell you a lot. You have to go there on a mobile phone, but if you just search for like Myntra and Kurtis, Kurtis, you'll see an advanced mobile page. You know, the little circle with the flash? In the results right there, and you click on that, and you get a product page instantly. That's because it's pre-cached by Google, because the site implements AMP and PWA. And then, as a buyer, you don't think about it. All of a sudden, if you kind of interact further, you're on their site, but you don't really feel the difference. And the great thing is, with the progressive web apps, is they will work even once you've been to the site. You can actually continue to interact even if the internet connection goes down. So this is very important in emerging markets, which is a big part of our growth strategy as well. So the experience it's unnervingly frictionless. And beyond this, I mean, that's where it is today, but where we're going with PWA, with Google are the ones actually writing the RFCs. They're writing the specifications that are going to make your browsers understand who you are even better than they do today. And what I mean by that, think about any time you go to buy something with your phone online. You don't want to have to enter, I'm pretending this is a phone. You don't want to have to enter your address. You don't want to have to enter your payment details. Your phone should know all of that stuff already. And so what Google are doing is they're building these specifications into the browsers, making them standards so that the browser will become that piece of contextual information, will be the context for you. That's pretty cool, because that means I might do a Google search, say, yep, I like that in my size. Oh, I'm here in a tunnel. Okay, I'll keep looking through the catalog. Okay, I'm out of the tunnel. Yep, buy that, ship it there, and done. You know, we got a hint of the power of frictionless buying when Amazon came out with one-click ordering, right? I don't know about you guys, but I was looking at a surround sound system once, and I was like, yeah, I might want to buy that. 3 days later, it just showed up. I bought it without realizing it. And now, of course, that patent has expired, and one of our great partners in the States, Creatuity, they've actually posted. Magento, I believe, in 2.3 will very likely have one-touch ordering built into the core. So anything we can do to be frictionless, anything we can do to make the buying, the browsing and purchasing experience just seamless for the customer, is going to help. Is going to help merchants sell better and more often, and that's going to happen through PWA. This is where the web is headed. I mentioned emerging markets, so I'm spending more and more time in interesting places like India and China, and Vietnam. This was from Meet Magento in Shenzhen earlier this year. I'm Ben Marks, very good to meet you. This is a funny thing with China. So there's a lot of growth. We know that the market's huge and there will be a lot of growth in places like China, in places like India, but they're so interesting to work with as a Westerner. I never leave China any more confident than I did when I showed up. In fact, usually I feel like I know less by the time I leave. So you're going to see Magento continue to invest time and energy to get into these markets. And the benefit there, of course, is more consumers online buying from merchants. We have a very interesting story of European exporters actually exporting into China. And of course, a big part of the strategy for these merchants is relying on Magento. So you will see us continue to grow, and you'll see me posting pictures and sending emails from places like Shenzhen. And this kind of brings me to topics near and dear to my heart. You know I am a proponent of the Magento community. I'm a member. I have my card somewhere. I came from an agency. I was employee number 1 at that agency. That agency has over 70 people now. I joined Magento a few years ago because I was basically doing this job already anyway, and so they started paying me for it. But this is, our community focus is a massive part of our growth strategy. So it's not just that you'll see us out, you'll see more of our faces out and about in emerging markets. You'll see us more and more in the markets where you work, where you are, where your customers are. We are changing how we build our product. A few years ago, when we put Magento 2 into beta, we kind of shocked everyone. Even I was shocked. I didn't know we were going to do this. The code was always online, but we didn't have a way for people to contribute really directly. And then we made it possible. And the response was literally overwhelming. We did a really bad job, actually, giving timely response when people would file issues, when they would send us their code that fixed those issues. Earlier this year, we actually took the head of Magento 2 development, Max Yekateryenko, and he handpicked several of the architects from the Magento 2 team. And now we go around the world and we, along with great partners like WebJump, host contribution days where we work on Magento issues. We build Magento features. Multi-source inventory, the idea that you can have stock in multiple warehouses, that feature is coming to Magento. And it's coming to all versions of Magento because it's being built in collaboration with our community. It's a big feature. So we see this is actually just a start. In the future, you will see, in the near future, certainly by 2020, you will see that the majority of new code being written for Magento is being written by the community. This means that we, internally, will have more resources to devote to research and development. It also means that we'll be relying on the expertise that people have as they contribute code to our code base. Someone may very well know the ins and outs of price calculations. They may be experts in shipping, and their contributions, that domain expertise, as they contribute code to our core, benefits everyone. And we've also stood up some incentive programs around that. We finally have Magento Elephants. Again, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you're probably not a developer. We hand out T-shirts. We have Squashtoberfest happening right now, a big contribution push, and we'll be handing out awards and accolades as time goes on. And that leads me to my final note as far as our strategy for growth goes. And this is a program near and dear to my heart, and it's the Magento Innovations Lab. So we announced this program about a month ago, and then we've actually had a lot of engagement on it, so we've expanded the deadline out another 30 days. This is our pure, bleeding-edge research play. We want to understand what you're doing. We want to understand how that helps customers in your market. Are you doing something silly like making Magento run on a toaster for the benefit of consumers? Fine. Submit it to the Innovation Lab. We're not looking for actual products, like productized offerings that are out there. We have a tech partner program for that. But if you're doing something really novel with Magento, we want to hear about it. Two examples that we have earlier this year at a hackathon, a few guys went off into a room in Germany. They just went off into a room, and then they emerged, tired, smelly, 48 hours later, and they had a working integration, a chatbot running on Facebook Messenger, right? Connected to a Magento 2 instance, right? In just 48 hours. That's a really interesting project. So that goes into the Innovation Lab. Tom Robertshaw, longtime, well-known community member from MeanBee, he's got a video that you can find online where he's sitting there and he just turns to Alexa and he says, "Hey Alexa, where's my order?" Although he says it in a beautiful Bristol accent. And Alexa tells him where his order is. That's really cool stuff. That's the kind of thing that we want to see in the Innovation Lab. These are the kinds of initiatives that will help carry Magento into the future that we're going to meet, whether we want to or not. That's where our growth is. So I will leave you with this: two things. Keep pushing yourselves. Keep thinking about how you can do what you're doing better. Keep thinking about how we can do what we do better. Tell us about it. And before you leave here today, you should meet someone that you don't already know and find out what he or she is doing in this Magento world. That's really cool stuff. I see red here, but I will ask for questions now. And if you would prefer to ask your questions in Portuguese, there's a little man inside this thing who will tell me what you're saying. Thanks a lot, guys. What's next?
Temos perguntas?
Bom dia. Bom, bom dia eu entendi em português, tá ótimo. Bom, para mim está muito claro, acho que a Magento como um movimento, né, que se criou e vem trazendo uma plataforma onde a gente consegue trabalhar com dados, com informação e um foco muito grande em e-commerce, né? Hoje a gente vê cada vez mais, o varejo tá com uma maturidade muito boa, as indústrias também, e cada vez mais a gente vem falando sobre uma era digital 4.0. Como você enxerga a Magento dentro desse contexto, não só contribuindo com as informações, com o mercado e-commerce, mas com essa troca de informação com o varejo entre indústria, como a Magento consegue transformar essa agenda numa agenda mais colaborativa, com um foco, né, em sellout, em venda, e também numa expertise, uma inteligência artificial em diagnóstico de melhoria de estoque e tudo mais?
Não sei. Buena pergunta. Yeah? Very good question. Well, actually, that was quite a lot. Do I have time to just? I can give another 30 minutes presentation, I think,
yes.
on this. No, So I'm assuming Paul has done a fantastic job back there translating for me. So if I understand, what we're doing is you're really asking about the soul of what Magento is all about, right? Because as I mentioned before when I got up on stage, one of the first things I said was that, we as a company, we can make the best software on the planet. And if it's just us, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't do anything. So along those lines, I think Magento, what we do is we empower the community. I mean, if you don't know you're here today, makes you part of this community. So we empower you to go out and to find these innovations, to build integrations, to make these disparate systems work together. Because you're right. I mean, it was a novelty a few years ago when I would show up at events and there would be someone out there talking about big data and machine learning and using that to maybe inform search results, right? But this stuff has become standard now. And that will continue more and more. We're in a business of really just putting our customers, putting the end customer under the thumb. We started with A/B testing. Let's put the product description here. No, let's do it here. Now let's change the price here, but not here. Now, we started doing these iterations, and then we find what works well, and then that becomes standard for us. It becomes standard because it becomes standard for the consumer. So we've got this huge e-commerce and retail. It's all just one big lab experiment where we're continually optimizing how we get customers to what they need faster, and hopefully, so that they're buying more and more frequently. So Magento fits in there in the way that it fits in anywhere, though, because these customer behaviors, they change from market to market. Technology expectations change from market to market. When I go somewhere, like I was training a team in Kenya earlier this year, and you know what? When you go through the checkout system on Magento, there you choose the popular payment method, and all of a sudden your phone SIM toolkit pops up and says, "Hey, do you want to buy this? Is this your transaction?" You hit yes, and it's paid for. We don't have anything like that in the States. Like, stuff is unexpected. And we would never, as a company, we could never be the product company for the world in the way that our community can. So to answer your question, and if it's not fully addressing everything you asked, we can talk about this later. I'm sure I can have someone help with the translation. We make it possible for our community to take Magento that extra mile, to take Magento that extra distance, down that path of where commerce is headed. And then as a company, we do make strategic decisions. For example, business intelligence. It's a great tool for the merchant, but it's not just about that one merchant. It's about a lot of merchants. And we learn a lot from this huge body of merchants and their customers and their behaviors and what works. And we get to take that information and turn around and help our customers do better. So in some ways, yes, we will have product engagements that address what you're talking about, but really, at our best, we are at our best when we're enabling the work that you're doing. And I think, is it one more or one more question?
Hi, Ben.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
¿Todo bien?
He speaks Spanish, so that wasn't racist. No.
I want to know, we know the company plans and the future plans, but we want to know about Magento 2 developer certification. What plans you have to developers if you are going to have two certifications, one in Magento Open Source and one in Magento Commerce? and you are the correct guy to tell me.
I'm for some reason the guy. I'm just the person who happened to be there when they were filming that day. So certification. So I almost put a slide in on certification yesterday, but then that would have meant I would have had to go like find a stock photo with someone looking smart, and I just was lazy. Because I knew someone would ask. So thank you for asking. So yes, certification is incredibly important to it's incredibly important to developers, the businesses they work for, the merchants that they're whose site they're working on, so that you know that this person knows what he or she is talking about. I had hoped that we would have Magento 2 certifications. We did a solution specialist beta, and so that happened. So then we take the information from the beta, and then we'll release the solution specialist, the actual final version, sometime soon. But I had hoped that developer certification would be out this year. However, it won't be. We've actually had we've had a change of the guard, as we say, in our education team. We just hired someone who is absolutely blowing me away with his business plan for education. So you will see some massive changes into how Magento delivers and even talks about education. There's going to be there will be more programs for purchase. There will be more and better free resources as well. Now, to your question, certification for developers will be out first quarter of next year. I did get approval from Richard to commit him to that deadline. So you'll see it. The team has been put together, so we're already writing questions. And yeah, and then we'll have a beta, and you will see the test being available first quarter of next year. So if you're not already playing around with Magento 2, I encourage you to do it. One of our esteemed friends, Alan Kent, on GitHub. If you haven't played, how many of you have not yet played with Magento 2 as developers? Anyone? Oh, hell yeah. That's great. No, you're the one. Okay. Well, so to you I say, you can go to Alan Kent. A quick start. If you go to Alan Kent's GitHub page, it's just github.com/Alan Kent. He has a DevBox skeleton is what it's called, what the repository is called, and it's a set of scripts that for working with Docker. And it'll spin up a nice working environment very quickly, and then from there you can do whatever you want. There are a lot of resources online for using virtualization, or if you want, you can install it bare metal. But absolutely play around with Magento 2 and get ready for that certification, because well, it's great to have certifications. Cool. Well, I think that's all the time I have. So. Thank you all. You are a lovely, lovely audience. You're the best audience I've spoken with today. Please enjoy the rest of the conference, which I believe will be all in Portuguese. I'll be around. My colleagues from Magento are around. Meet each other, have fun, and I'll talk to you later.
Muito obrigado.